can't understand why.
Yeah, I
Tracy?
can't understand why surrounding counties are all splitting theirs up if it's not working.
Well, I think what the issue is that you always got your deputy just sitting in your 911 center not doing anything. Get them out of the building, and they don't have access to go in there all the time. The deputies will be out on the road. I'm not saying it happens everywhere, but sometimes you'll get a guy who gets his paperwork and he just sits in there forever. And he BS's with all of the.
So I'm seeing you shake your head, yes, yes, yes.
I think dispatch should not be in the jail.
Okay, so we
Wait,
have people
what
that
did
are
you
on
just say?
duty.
I do
active.
not think that 911 should be in the jail.
So we have actual people who are working it, living it. I mean, I just wanna understand why though.
But the pro that we're having it where it is now, is they're running all our doors, they're already doing jailer stuff.
Right.
So if the jail's not there,
You won't
I
have
mean,
to
in the
have
grand
that.
scheme of things, if we had a public safety building, that would be great, have EMS and everybody there, but if you're not gonna do that, then having it is not that big a deal.
Well, I have a sideline question, and maybe you started on this and I didn't quite understand, but didn't you tell us we're gonna have to do some expense here that's
That's
significant?
on the VHF side of the house. Right now, what we're running into is that the tones are bad. It's because the phone lines are old, and they've been spliced so many times. So the way to get away from having to deal with the phone lines, running the 3.5 miles as the crow flies out to the Harley Tower, is to make the Harley Tower a repeater. And so
Which
basically
costs?
what you're taking, and Lee is back here shaking his head at me, but I've got 4 different companies that have told me all the same thing.
How much does that cost to make it
We're
repeat?
looking at about 40 grand.
40?
40
Right.
grand right now,
I mean,
it's the
that's-
estimates that I got. Unless you do microwave, and if you do microwave, you gotta do a double shot because of the difference in the elevation. And that, so you'd have to shoot from the current jail up to here and then shoot out to Harley Tower, and then each hop for a microwave is about $51.
And aren't we wanting a place for dogs?
Has nothing to do with the jail. We're not talking about that today.
We'll bring that up.
Dogs and community center, that's another meeting.
Today is about the jail.
Neighbors might not like that. Okay, so we have a little difference of opinion here, we've got to work this out.
Do we have to work it out, though? I mean, in my mind, I don't.
Well, in the grand focus of the jail, not right now.
Not right now, that's what
I mean, we're
Well,
looking.
no, don't say that, because they just said we don't have space for it,
Well,
so we
it's-
picked a design.
Yeah,
So you're
I-
picking this design and you do not have room for 911.
It's, if, depending on what, and I'm gonna leave it up to the sheriff on what he wants that room to be. If you want this room, then we don't. If we have,
Okay.
if we don't need that room, then we can,
So basically,
Make
the
it
difference in
911.
So if we build it, we don't move 911 right now, and we say, hey, the workroom's not getting
I would
used.
just have to configure things a little differently than what I have.
Well-
And engineering wise, hope that it all fits. Because it's putting a lot in a small box.
I'm looking at the far right front of the building, the multi-purpose training, and then, at the top, there's a conference classroom. That to me almost seems like a duplication of study area, training classroom area. But that multi-purpose training area at the front would suffice for a 911 office at some point, couldn't it?
Well, the difference there was, you Scott, if you do your training in the back, and you've got to come up with new techniques or whatever, or you gotta talk secretly, everybody in that jail's gonna hear you. So if you're in the front of it, separated from everything else, then you can talk pretty freely in
Well,
the front.
There's 2 solid walls per se, because you've got the jail commander, bond, and then, next to the first pod, the pod right-hand side, I guess, you've got another set of walls, so I don't see how anybody's gonna overhear what you're doing with that series of walls separating the cells and a potential work area.
You're right.
Did we not just hear more pros for not moving the 911 than cons?
So
And now
what-
you're trying to justify moving architecture 911?
Yeah, I'm saying at some point in the future, without a lot of headache and work, potentially that could.
I think maybe in the future, it needs to be, we build another little building and put them in their own little building.
Potentially.
I said you get this one built.
Yeah, let's get this one built
I'm gonna
first.
get this one going.
That's a fine tooth.
I mean, there'd be room out there later on if we had to move 911, they put them in their own little building. That's 6 years, if it comes to later. If we have it. Or add on to the side of this one.
You need to build this one and be able to afford this one. And you could do all kinds of stuff in the future.
Right.
And I will add on, I guess, hopefully on the tail end of the financial discussion, on a $10 million bond, by utilizing the lit correctional facility, that we're collecting on a monthly basis, Baker Tilly has us starting in 2024 for the bond. The jail's gonna take 2.5, I would think, 2.5, potentially 3 years, because we're not gonna start tomorrow. Maybe by summer, we could potentially look at something. So we've got a continuation of 2.5, 3 years of more collection that we did take into consideration on that financial sheet.
We
But-
thought the 2025 completion date,
Yeah,
but most likely it will be 2026 is what we're hearing, because of problems getting supplies, getting work, or
I don't think it's that long. I mean, it's something like this, if the steel frame, the 3-3 metal building frame can be, received within 6 months, I mean, something like this can be built in 15 months.
Great.
so I'm glad we went off 2025
Yeah.
instead of 2026, so.
So you're probably okay.
okay.
Now, it's just, we gotta get started, right?
So I say the step from here is just general census is we're gonna use a bot.
Yes.
So now it's up to us up here to decide that we're gonna use a bot and which one it is we're gonna use.
But I was going to say, before I got on that tangent, Baker Tilly has calculated our bond repayment coverage at 125%. So we've got a 25% cushion, if you will, in excess of what we collect and what our bond payments will be. We've got a 25% cushion that correctional facility lit can be utilized for operations. I mean, literally it can be used for about anything else that comes along.
Such as the internal furnitures, lighting, or
Right.
furnitures, chairs,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is actually comes out when we did our figures, and that was around 180,000 until it's finished.
Right.
Something that I would like to see a list of is what is soft costs from here, because I don't have it well in my mind. And so, just exactly what those are. I mean, you said desks, I'm assuming, tables, in the day rooms, things like that. That sure helped me figure this out.
And when I talked to Baker Tilly, Bill, that is a great idea. I told Baker Tilly, I said, I wanna see the accountant dummy version for us. I wanna know the starting cost of the jail, and I want each one of these broke out. And he says, the numbers that you give me is the numbers that we will plug in and put, instead of getting one like we got in January. Because that is kind of very deceiving with the hidden, I mean, it's there, but I would like to see the layout of all the costs.
I agree.
I And some of those items, and I'll get you the list, but
Okay.
just so you start thinking about it. Office desks, chairs, tables, like conference room tables, televisions that you have in conference rooms, and in like I said, multi-purpose, training rooms, refrigerator freezers for like evidence, for break rooms, copy machines, you know, if you have new ones, in the evidence room, there'll be in inmate property rooms, there's gonna be different storage systems, whether it's shelves, whether it's, there's kind of a bag system, kinda like a dry cleaner. There's different systems for storing, inmate property. Mattresses, pillows, linens, food trays, utensils, cups, anything like that that goes along with the kitchen. Computers, a body scanner, if you get one of those, you got a space for it. Metal detectors, you know, any filing cabinets, exercise equipment. So those are the kinds of things. Anything that's not attached to the floor, like the picnic table type deals out in the day room, the seating, those are attached to the floor, those are in the project. So that's what those aren't yours.
So all these tables I'm seeing on the diagram here, those are already in the.
Yeah, those are in the project. Those are in the
Those are
detention.
mounted to the floor.
Yeah, those are detention equipment contractor.
If not, they'll pick them up.
Provided.
And Tob, I would assume some of your computers, your copiers, your filing cabinets could be utilized out there as well. I know some would have to stay if we.
That's what Lori and I were just talking about, now, there's obviously some equipment would be transferring over.
Your biggest expense would probably be new mats, linens,
They've doubled the
stuff like
cost.
that.
Yeah.
And the storage units, what besides your locker system, you wanna keep your evidence and your inmate personal stuff into, cause that's gotta be secured. There's your expense right there. Then your evidence room on what kind of system you're gonna keep in there.
I mean, on the,
That's your secret.
But he did say that we can get like, that all,
Well, remember when maybe it's not like you were saying, but remember when we went up to that jail at,
Adams County?
how they had a vacuum packing thing and everything in there to put all the inmates' items in.
And that way they're guaranteed no tampers, but it'd be.
Well, and remember, every time that they wanted to get in their package, it cost them $10. Every time the pack got opened, so I don't know how it'll work, but that's a system to generate more money for your commissary, which I hear a lot of jails have those now.
They're good systems, but they're expensive.
But they pay for themselves.
just,
This evidence area here,
yeah,
I know is that adequate in size? I mean,
that,
it seems like the evidence can just build up, you gotta keep this stuff for a long time.
well, that's based on, we looked at it the other day, and it's based on growth from what, the sheriff has, plus it's a little bit larger than the growth by, I don't know, another 100 feet or something, 100 square feet. So it's probably at least twice where he's putting his cell out now.
And if we maintain that building, we'll have evidence availability up here as well.
Yeah, we would, yeah.
And we could use the conference rooms too, eventually, revenues too, right?
That's up to how they secure everything.
You just gotta make sure it's secure when it's
Yes.
evidence.
Just have an investigator, because the deputy does bring the evidence, they log it in themselves and put it in. They don't have to worry about this stuff inside this evidence. So that's an extra, whatever, 5-10 feet right there to chase it.
So that, what is shown there is evidence depository. That's the point which someone goes in, prepares the evidence in you know, a bag or however they're gonna present it. And then these two boxes that you see right here, those are evidence lockers that they put the evidence in from the back side. Then it's locked, and then that evidence transfers to the evidence, technician, whoever's handling all the evidence, then they process it within that evidence room, and then it stays in there as the trail of evidence. So, and those lockers are in project, so those aren't anything that county needs to worry about.
So your biggest three soft costs is gonna be your supplies for the inmates, uniforms, because you have to have more uniforms, your maps, your locker system for your kitchen, the tray, utensils and stuff. And a little bit for the deputies and jailers that have personal lockers, put stuff in, that's kinda like a soft cost.
Well, you've got several places here for desks and stuff
Right.
like. I assume the one that's up there, more or less the top right, that says work area. Is that a series of desks, or what is that?
That's the lobby.
Oh, I don't know why that says work, that shouldn't say work.
It should be a lobby.
That's lobby. That's lobby.
Lobby?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just seating for people waiting for some reason.
Right, they're just coming in to either see the sheriff or see a detective or something.
Now, that makes a lot more sense to me. I finally got it oriented here now. Okay.
Mike?
Yes.
So, this isn't really with the jail, it's more with the 911 center staying where it is. Have you guys looked at the cost of the upgrades and upgrading the electrical and all that? What that's gonna cost if you keep it where it is? Cause you know, you got what, 1980s wiring, and it's a rat's nest underneath there if you ever pulled up those files and taken a look. Just
At the jail now.
at the jail now.
And that's another thing to take into consideration also, whether we keep that building or get rid of it, you're going to have to get it up to code to be able to sell it, unless you're gonna demolish it. So why
If we
put?
can't find a good use for it, it's probably should be just done away with, because we don't want an empty dinosaur sitting here in Delphi.
But we've sure got a lot of uses for it from
Everybody
every.
keeps coming up with more uses.
Right, so let's don't worry about that right now.
Where do we move from here?
Well, I was
I
just
think it
wondering,
comes back
the
to
only
this.
reason why I was wondering is because if it's gonna cost X amount of dollars to move it, and it costs more money to renovate it, is it worth moving? Personally, I don't care where 911 ends up, as long as 911 has a home. But you just gotta
And
make
it
sure.
works.
It works, that's the important part.
Well, 911's working right now, so why do we think it's not gonna work?
Now, there's issues with that.
There's issues that go on the daily,
I mean,
that get band-aided.
I mean, nobody's got that
if we don't
problem.
get this repeater system he's talking about, the phone lines are always down.
Is anybody working on looking into that?
That's what, Mike's been working on it with that, and then, Brittany, the new lead command, I believe, has been talking to AT&T or whoever owns the phone line.
Frontier.
So who
Frontier.
is working on like fixing the electrical and updating the building, getting estimates for
No,
that?
we haven't started any of that. I think that really has to wait till we have a usage for it, to know what we need to fix. What we still go ahead. I think I personally have appreciated this meeting very much. I think we're getting a cohesion here that we can work on ahead with. Is there individually, including out here individually, anything that we need to address right now?
I just wanna
Sure.
just show this, this is what potentially the building could look like. So it's just be, I mean, like here in the corner, that's the entrance, covered kind of entrance there. So this is just it's just a pre-engineered metal building, so nothing fancy. You can see the housing area in the back as the two, is a little higher, and the windows, the cells in the back have windows in the back that then look out through the chase, and the mechanical chase in the back, and there's the windows in the back.
Is that a clear span building or house?
There are, depending on which pre-engineered frame, if there's a location to, drop a column in the middle and to hide it in the wall, that's being done, and that helps, cut down on the amount of steel.
Good.
So, yeah. So most of them, it's not clear steel.
Good.
Which side would face Carroll Manor?
The way this is,
Just looking at the right side.
I think,
Okay.
if you were looking from the road back, what direction is that?
North.
That's north, so this would be the north side. This, so,
So you'll be seeing that off 100 north.
South.
This is 100 north.
So this is the road.
100 north would be left.
Yeah, I think
Main lobby coming in is right down
This
there.
would be
sit like
facing.
this.
Sit like that. So this is the,
This is
I
100.
think
Right.
that would be the
And then
front
this
of the
would be
building.
This is the southeast corner
so
of
this
it.
is the back.
So the vehicle sally port would be opposite Carroll.
Yes.
Is there any less security with this steel building than there would be with another type of building? Are we jeopardizing any, escapes or anything?
No, because within,
Yeah.
I mean, within the, like the back of the cells, those are steel, you're not getting through that. So that is the line of, security. And then there's the block wall, like this block wall goes full height up to the roof. So there's a line which, goes along and around the back side of here and then around, it's all, there's a block wall that runs around the back that,
Okay, and that block, those block walls up front run not just to the ceiling, but all the way to the roof.
the ones that are required that we consider the security envelope, those go to the roof deck.
Okay.
And so, in some places, they're blocked with the metal panel, runs right in front of it, you wouldn't know the blocks behind it. Other areas, it's just a chain.
Ted, do we have to bid out a bot?
What method are you gonna use?
Well, probably
Bought.
bought, which is a buy, operate,
That's kind of a
transfer.
general census.
Okay, you have to
We have
do
to
a
vote.
notice to potential bot providers. But to advertise a notice and receive proposal to do the BOT.
Why would we
But can
not
we
bid
just
it
go
out?
out and pick like one of these two guys already here done talking? Can we just go say, hey, you're gonna be our guy?
No.
You have to advertise.
Yep. Mhm.
Okay. And how do we do that? Just throw it in the newspaper?
Yeah, it'll go in the newspaper.
Are you gonna prepare that?
Pardon me?
And will you be preparing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is
That's
our,
really
what
what I
is
was
our
going
plan of
with.
action?
I think
So
we got our
let's make-
building.
So we have decided on a design.
Well, we need to decide, the three of us, if we're gonna do the bot or if we're gonna do the MC, which I think the general census here says we're gonna do the bot.
I would like to think that 10 of us are gonna do
The
something.
10 of us, yeah. But technically, we do all contracts, so.
You guys are in. You're in the meetings and then they can just agree.
Yeah, okay.
So I can make a motion
So
to
this
we're
is
gonna
the,
do the bot
this is
system?
the jail that we're building.
Right. Seems general census, yes.
Okay.
We don't do any motions or anything here in this meeting, do we?
You can, yes. This is an open public
Okay, well, I
meeting.
didn't know if we could at a work session or not.
So do you want me to make a motion, the design we got?
Do we have, I mean, I haven't been to the meeting a lot, so what I understand is, they're basically leasing it. Built.
They take charge of it,
yeah.
until they hand us the keys.
There are some DOTs that they'll keep it for a period of 10, 15 years. They'll maintain it, we maintain it still. And then there are others who, basically, the day that it's completed and moved into, they hand you the keys and we buy it from them.
And that's my understanding is the way
Within 30
most
days.
people are interested, like the guy I talked to, that's what he's doing with Boone County and Tippecanoe County and all that. Within 24 hours after he builds it and we look it over, then he transfers it. You know, and we come up with the money.
We would have that option after we go through.
Oh, yeah.
Through the process, the
Yeah.
next install.
Right. But it's also true what you said, Bill, some people do it over a longer term and, you know,
It's how we restructure with, now correct me if I'm wrong, Ted, but it's however we structure it with the BOT people, we can structure it whether it's within the first month or whether it's at the end of 10 years.
Right,
And that depends on who we hire.
yes.
we can hear from them on that as time goes
Yes.
along.
So they send us bids?
They send you proposals, they send you proposals.
Say, we put this in today, that this is what we're building
You
today.
choose the operator first, and, we give them as much information as we can, and they make proposals, and then you choose one. So you're not gonna,
You're
know
not
the
gonna
final
get-
cost
you're
or
not gonna
anything
get a-
like that.
Yeah, you're not gonna get a final cost.
You're not gonna get cost.
Before you
Right.
pick one, you gotta pick one, and then.
Gotta pick
they-
one.
Then they have to go through the
But
whole
today,
thing.
we can vote, say, hey, this is what we're gonna build, similar to this. Then we can also vote in that we're gonna do a box system, then you can write up the thing and put it in the newspaper.
What you need to do is, if you've agreed on that type of plan, you know, whatever you recommend, Greg, what do you want them to do?
Well, I would just say, and
Go ahead.
Sheriff agrees that we're very close. I mean, this isn't the plan
Yeah.
exactly, but this is certainly, I mean, we're talking about, you know, moving a wall or something, so it's not, we're not adding an appendage of the building.
This is where we can work from.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Well, I know of at least 3 BOT people that are interested. And I think we probably could with any one of the 3, but we need to, again, I'd like for all 10 of us to think about it and help make that decision.
I think everybody here's got a general census there, it's a box, so it's up to us if we want to buy. And if this is the building we're gonna build, so today, we can walk out here saying, Ted's gonna be putting it in the newspaper.
You could authorize
And
that.
by June, we can have them in here and say, hey,
So, for your minutes, and that's gotta make minutes of this, what have you reached agreement on, the type and
the type of
size?
building, the size,
Type and,
and maybe the box system of finance.
Let's go through the process correctly here, as
Not
I
fine.
understand it, and do
I'm sorry.
it through a motion.
well, I was suggesting the first motion be that you approve the, type and size of building as presented by Elevatus today.
Which would be a steel building and,
You can
size.
put in as much information as you want in the
Let's
motion.
say as shown in this working,
Option 1 presented today.
Working drawing,
yeah,
418 to 22,
yeah.
that'd be the first motion.
Okay, Steve, are you making that motion?
yes, I'll make that motion. I'll make a motion that we fill a modest diagram of 418 to 22 is our building design and options.
And it's for a 32,000 square foot steel building. Is that right?
Pre-engineered.
104
Pre-engineered.
beds, 8 classification, 6. Yeah, that's all.
Pre-engineered,
Pre-engineered metal,
pre-engineered metal building.
PEND.
Bed, we're gonna put in it, it's got 104 beds and 8 classifications.
So all the same.
Okay, so that's your motion, right?
Yes.
Would you like to second that? I have a second. Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and now I call for a vote. All in favor of that, please say aye. Aye.
The second motion would be to authorize proceeding by the build, operate, transfer method of procurement,
Okay,
and authorize advertisement of a notice of request for proposals to build, operate, and build, operate, and transfer this project.
Did you write that out for Beth?
I will.
You talked to them.
I know it.
Okay.
So Steve, you just made the motion, right?
Okay, sure.
Okay, but before I even ask for a second, is there any comment from anybody? Anybody who is concerned about this, doesn't want it?
Yeah.
Would you like to say? Second? Okay, another chance, anybody want to? Comment? Lee, do you have a comment on it? You're leaning out looking at me, so I want to.
Just remember that the final design that you come up with is gonna have to be approved by the Indiana Department of Corrections before you can bring it in.
How long does that take, Lee?
Not very long usually. Once you get a complete design, they can review it real quick. They have a gentleman there that, including the jail, state jail inspectors have to look at it, but there's a guy at the facility, or at the Department of Corrections that can approve the design or not approve the design. And he'll be looking at square foot of the actual confinement area more than anything else.
Okay.
That's where we rely
I
on our
assume you've been
architect.
through that several times.
There's so many square feet per inmate in the day rooms, or, you know, how large the cells are.
And you got all that configured in there.
Most Elevate knows the process, they know how it has to be handled.
Okay, so, we have made a motion and a second, so it's time now for a vote on that, and,
Ted recognized it.
Ted,
Okay,
you wanna read what the motion is again, so that,
to proceed with the project for construction of a new jail by using the build, operate, and transfer method, and to authorize advertisement of proposals for BOT.
okay? Everybody understand that? Call for the vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
My goodness.
Anything else that we need to cover with this meeting? Okay, now, to the council members here, and I guess to those who were not able to be here, when we come up to the next thing, I wanna have another open meeting with the public, with all 10 of us. Hash it through again, you know?
So when we get to
The
the
next things that are coming up,
All
we have to
together.
decide.
So our aspect of it, from council-wide, we'll take this to hopefully a full council meeting. And then we will revamp these numbers as close as possible, get them to Baker Tilly. They will upgrade their numbers, and you will upgrade yours, and then you should have an updated package on the path that we're going.
Sounds wonderful to me.
And I will, I guess, comment on Bill's desire. I think it is highly important for the 10 of us, both bodies together, moving forward with this. This is not a small project. It's one of the biggest ones Benton County has undertaken, maybe ever. And it's important, you know, 2 heads are always better than 1, and 10 are, well, we don't know yet. But I think going forward, it's highly important for all of us to work together.
I would bet if you adjust for inflation, this courthouse is a lot bigger project than the jail.
Probably true.
Yeah.
Probably true.
And I know that from reading the history of it, there was a lot of dissension with it, and a lot of people thought we were bankrupting the county when this building was built, and it should never be done, and it shouldn't be built here, it should be built in Florida, and I've heard and read the whole stories of it, but it was done and it's beautiful, and we're still using it, so,
I'd like to say something.
yeah, I would like for you to.
I would like to thank the council for bringing the financials to them. They don't know the finances, I mean, they should, and they do, but they don't know where to pull from. And I'm very happy that you guys finally made that. That's what's got this project going.
This was wonderful. This really helped.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
And before we all get too contented, I wanna remind you that, Clinton County built a new jail in 98, Ted, was it?
I think so.
And they're building a new one right now.
Well, let's downplay that.
Axe that from the minutes, please.
Yeah, don't put that in
Oh,
the
my
minutes.
gosh.
Do we, Ted, on this meeting, we have to have a vote to adjourn, don't we?
Yes, it's a
So
meeting.
said.
All in favor, say aye. We are adjourned. Thank you to everybody.
Oh, I can see the headline now. We're building a jail, it's gonna be accommodated.
That's past deadline time, so you can go get it in there.
No, I'll get it in.
Stop the press.
I've got tomorrow. 2 more meetings tonight, but.
Second time.